Welcome back to Battle of the Beer. It is 2017. It's a new year, so we're talking about new beer. Ooh. What's new beer, Jason?
Well, for us, we basically said, hey, what's a beer we haven't tried before and we want to try? Why not now? On the show, it's a perfect time to just snag it up and drink it up.
Let's get 2017 going.
So if you haven't watched Spooky Beer, you probably should. But
who does that?
We had a beer called Trolltunga.
Yes.
And because of that, I was like, oh, sour beer. It's great.
It was a revelation, really.
It was. So because of that, I selected Monk's Cafe. It's a Flemish sour red ale. And really, honestly, I don't know anything more about this beer except that. But I thought, hey, it's another sour beer. And can lightning strike twice, folks?
We're going in blind.
That's the thing. So we had a great sour beer that totally sold us on the style. And
now that other one was a fruit though, so I'm kind of curious as to what.
Yeah, it had elderberry, didn't it?
Yeah, kind of tastes like a Starburst or something. So I'm wondering.
I apologize for that pour.
That's okay. It's got. I
mean, that's a Lucas pour.
That's half head, half liquid. So.
Yes. And I got a little bit. That's definitely pours.
It kind of smells like honey. Yeah, apparently no matter what you do, it's going to do that. But yeah. I mean, I like a good red ale, a good amber ale.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can.
Why not make it sour? I guess
you can detect the sour just in the aroma.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get in there through all that?
I did barely. It's not quite as sour. It is sour. It's very interesting. It's kind of like I don't want to say wine, but it just has that very bitter taste.
Yeah, it's like that dryness.
Like
that you kind of get from a wine a little bit,
yeah,
and just that sour note. But otherwise, it has the characteristics of a red ale a bit. Light body, I'd say medium carb. Clearly, we have a lot of head here, but is that because of me or is that because of the beer? That's the question. But I'm happy with the sour flavor. It's not like I really think the Trolltunga benefited from the fruit, but I do like the sour flavor that this beer produces.
It says that they blend young and old beers to make this mildly sour ale. It also states on here that it's light-bodied, so good for you, because that's what you said.
Light body.
With a lactic/sour nose, and a bit of sweet and sour in the finish. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. It's kind of got a sweetness that an amber or red ale would have, but not overpowering, but... Yeah. It's also a little bit sour.
Yeah. Well, we didn't just bring one beer to the table today, so
let's
get this out of here. We'll talk about your beer next.
This blends two of my favorite styles. It's a Scotch ale, my first favorite, and a bourbon barrel, or it's been aged. It's a Scotch ale.
Aged in a bourbon barrel.
Those are the words.
That's what you're looking
for. That's the words that I was going to say. Okay.
So you like Scotch ales that are heavily intoxicated Scotch ales, basically.
Yeah, it's like doubling down on the ABV, I guess. You know what?
You're gonna be a gentleman and
yeah,
pour for
I suppose.
Lady? I
was so excited to try it that I was going to just keep it all for myself. I might still do that. Ooh, it smells good.
Nice and dark in the color department. It's kind of nice creamy head to it. You can get that bourbon flavor, the bourbon smell right off the aroma. I don't know why I always do this. You notice I've been doing this when I say smell. Why? Why does that? That has nothing to do with smell.
The universal sign for smell.
I don't know. Look at the smell. Look at the smell. You look at it. I know. Why do I do these things, Lucas?
Because you like to have fun. Before you get to the taste, it smells like a chocolate bar.
I would not be able to tell this was a Scotch ale because all I get is straight up bourbon. Oh man, the bourbon barrel destroys everything else. Have you ever had the Bourbon County Ale? I want to say that's
isn't it by Goose Island?
Goose Island. It's
no,
aged in a bourbon
that's
barrel.
something that's lately was highly seeked not too long ago. But I don't participate in those crazy.
You don't
find
hunt
those
white whales, huh?
No, exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, the bourbon completely eliminates any of the typical Scotch ale notes or flavorings that I'm usually associated with the style. But, definitely get the bourbon. Wow.
You know what's interesting is they don't put the ABV on this, which normally a Scotch ale runs about 8%, and a bourbon barrel tends to run about 9 to 10.
It's got to be somewhere in the 8 to 10.
Yeah.
department.
I would say
guess.
at least 9%.
You get that little bit of a warm feeling, but I'm really surprised at just the amount of bourbon in this thing, like the bourbon in flavor.
They also have the vintage on here, all the way back to 2012, interestingly enough. We both picked a beer that we both are interested in.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting
it's all about
to score
that
these.
crossover appeal.
Yeah, exactly. So
that'll determine the winner.
Why don't we go and try to suss this out a little bit, and we'll come back with our scores. So let's talk about Monk's Cafe's Flemish Sour Red Ale. Jason, you chose this.
I did.
How do you feel about it?
You know, overall I feel good. After talking to people, the first sour beer we tried apparently is a top-notch sour beer. So it's kind of hard. You're constantly going to be comparing to that bar.
Sure.
With that said, basically most of my scores reflected a 3.5 to a 3 marking across the board. It got the highest mark for me was overall satisfaction, because when I factored in everything, I gave it about a 4. But you know, once I averaged everything out, it was a 3.5 beer for me. Like, I appreciated the mouthfeel, the overall like aroma and appearance.
Sure.
The taste was probably a little bit lower, but when you factor everything in, it kind of bumped it up again. But overall, it was 3.5.
I appreciated the taste and the appearance. I'm not bothered when there's a bit of head. Now, this one was particularly
that was
active.
crazy. Yeah.
I don't know if that's usual in this beer, but overall, I gave this a 3.75, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, given I had no expectations for this beer whatsoever. I didn't know what to expect.
Well, let's talk about your Scotch ale.
Well, I mean, I am super glad that I picked this beer, because it just hits every note for me. You know, it's sweet because of the Scotch ale with it. It has a longer boil point, so it just really gets that sugar note in there. And of course, adding in the bourbon barrel, I love me some bourbon, but where it really shined for me was the taste, and I gave it a 4.5 overall.
Oh, wow.
What did you? I'm curious to know what you thought about it, because I don't really feel like this is much your style.
Well, you know, I do appreciate some bourbon beer, but what I took issue with is that it's advertised as a Scotch ale. And for me, I had no idea that you couldn't tell me that this was Scotch ale anymore. I just felt like they just took it all and just threw it in a bourbon barrel, and that the bourbon barrel just completely overtook anything else. Like, you could have any style of beer in this, and I think it would come out the same. Like, all I could pull from this was bourbon barrel. Honestly, I scored these really close together. But because of it was just like bourbon barrel in your face, my scores kind of reflect that. So for me, it became down to like, this was a 3.5, that was a 3.25 for me. So just slightly lower.
Oh wow!
But I guess I was disappointed, because I could not tell that was a Scotch ale. It was just all bourbon.
You know what? We have two very dissimilar beers here. We both picked out something that we really were interested. They can't really compete head to head. And let's face it, the scores were extremely close.
Right,
we both enjoyed these beers. So I say, why don't we start the year off, instead of trying to say, well, who brought the best beer today? Why don't we just, we'll leave on friendly terms, and we'll say we're both winners.
Oh, participation trophies all around. This was a great way to kick off 2017. I hope your new year is going fantastic as well. Feel free to sound off in the comments. If you tried a new beer, or maybe if you've had one of these, what you thought. We'd love if you'd subscribe to the channel. We're on a big push to hit 100 subscribers, so please help the cause, subscribe today, and help support Battle of the Beer.
And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, maybe subscribe while you're here, comment a little bit, and share it with your friends, because you know what? We need the subscriptions, to be honest. So thank you so much for watching. That's Michael Effin in the background. He enjoys it. Why shouldn't you?